Daf Yomi Tractate Bava Metzia, page 90a, top of the page, with the words V'hadashos v'truma u'maser. Or that thresh, truma, and tithe, which one may not allow his cows to eat. If he muzzles them, he does not violate the prohibition of do not muzzle. But due to the appearance of prohibition, as observers are unaware that he is acting in a permitted manner, he should bring a piece of that species of produce and hang it in the basket that is by the animal's mouth. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai says he does not have to use the name. He does not have to use the same food that the animal is threshing, as he may bring vetches and hang them for it, as vetches are better for it than anything. Okay. And the Gemara raises a contradiction against this from a Braita. In the case of cows that tread on produce, one does not violate the prohibition of do not muzzle, but with regard to those which thresh truma and tithes, he does violate the prohibition of do not muzzle. And in the case of a Gentile who threshes with the cow of a Jew, he does not violate the prohibition of do not muzzle, but a Jew who threshes with the cow of a Gentile does violate the prohibition of do not muzzle, as it depends on the person who performs the action, not the identity of the animal's owner. This presents a difficulty with regard to the ruling concerning truma in one Braita and the ruling concerning truma in the other Braita, and there is similarly a difficulty with regard to the ruling concerning tithe in one Braita and the ruling concerning tithe in the other Braita. The Gemara comments, granted, the contradiction between the ruling concerning truma in one Braita and the ruling concerning truma in the other Braita is not difficult, as here the ruling in this Braita is stated with regard to actual truma, which may not be fed to a cow, and there the ruling in that Braita is stated with regard to growths of truma, which have the status of truma by rabbinic law, and therefore it is permitted to feed them to one's animal, so as not to violate the prohibition against muzzling. But as for the contradiction between the ruling concerning tithe in one Braita and the ruling concerning tithe in the other Braita, this is difficult. Okay. Maybe we'll do one more paragraph and then we'll do like a part two. If you would say that the contradiction between the ruling concerning tithe in one Braita and the ruling concerning tithe in the other Braita is also not difficult, as here the ruling in this Braita is stated with regard to the actual tithe, which may not be fed to a cow, and there the ruling is in that Braita stated with regard to growths of tithe which have the status of tithe by rabbinic law, and therefore it is permitted to feed them to one's animal in order not to violate the prohibition against muzzling. This answer cannot be accepted. The reason is that, granted, the growths of truma are considered like truma by rabbinic law, but the growths of tithe are non-sacred foods. As we learned in a Mishnah, Trumot 9:4, the growths of untithed produce and the growths of second tithe are non-sacred. The Gemara suggests a different answer. Rather, this is not difficult. The ruling of this Braita is stated with regard to first tithe, which is considered the owner's property, whereas the ruler of that Braita is stated with regard to second tithe, which is property of the temple treasury. And if you wish, say that both this ruling and that ruling are stated with regard to second tithe, and it is not difficult. As the one ruling of this Braita, according to which it is prohibited to feed the animal, it is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Meir, while the ruling of that Braita, which says that one may feed it to the animal, is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda. We'll pick it up on with Haz Rabbi Meir. More elaborate. Okay, we'll pick it up with Haz Rabbi Meir for part 2 of 90A, part 1. Part 2. Okay. We finished 98 part 1, now doing 90A part 2.